License file, license OK. So expand the operator Ps again inside the data1.nerf folder. Select the data1.nerf folder. OK. So this is a remote control agent. You can skip this IP address right now and later we can configure. So this remote control agent is nothing. But if you want to monitor the vault remotely, we need to configure this remote control agent. Okay, so if you skip this remote control agent configuration during initialization in later stages also, we can configure that agent one file. Now click on Next. When you say that you know it could be remotely configured or to monitor. So it's as good as you know. I don't have to take the RDP connection to my Vault server as such. That's what you mean, right? No. So you can take the RDP connection from any one of the component server. So we have a configuration file called the data1.nerf. So there you need to define from which server you need to take RDP of the vault. So that is the different case. But if you want to monitor the vault, like whether the service is up and running or not and the disk space and other things, memory utilization. So for that we require this remote control agent. Okay. And this could be done at a later stage as well. Is what you mean, right? So in real time. So what exactly? The use of the remote control agent. So if the admin want to monitor or do some configuration, so at the time he need this, configure remote control agent. That's what I told. So every minute we can't log into the Vault server and we can't monitor whether the service is up and running and what the CPU utilization, memory utilization kind of thing. So for that we can configure this remote control agent. So this remote control agent will monitor the service status, CPU utilization, disk usage utilization and memory utilization. So in this, if the spikes above the configured range, then immediately we will get a notification to the admin. Then at that stage you can log into the Vault server and you can check what service or what process it is utilizing. It is calling the disk. See, when we say that you know, Vault is specifically a hardened operating system. And typically what I have seen in my current environment is it's difficult to do even the RDP session. I think that's also kind of blocked. So we access our Vault server essentially only through a IDRIC or maybe a pillow kind of a thing. So in such a scenario, if I had to deploy any monitoring agent to specifically, say, monitor the storage space or maybe the replication between the DR, should I be relying on the monitoring platforms like Zabbix or this tool which we are speaking of? That should come to our rescue here. So we can rely on the monitoring solution like SNMP. It's basically the SNMP traps is what we will have to rely on. So either we can configure Splunk alerts or SolarWinds alerts or some other monitoring tools. By default, only 1.8.5.4 is open from the Vault. So, in case, if you want to enable monitoring from Vault 10, we need to open some firewalls. In the same way, if you want to take RDP of the vault from any one of the components, you need to open that 43389. So we need to define from which IP we need to open. We need to connect to this vault. So that configuration we can define in the dbpom. So I will explain those things. Definitely we require ILO access or IDRIC access to access this physical server. So in case, if you reboot the server after patching and it doesn't come up, then definitely we require ILO access or IDRIC access. In case if it is a PHP server or in case if it is some other vendor, then we require this kind of access. Sure, okay, I'll just go on next then. Yeah. So here it is saying like, install the distributed vault internal communication platform. But we are not going with a distributed vault architecture. We are going with standalone, so you can click on next. So here do not harden the mission. But we require no, don't select the checkbox. We require hardening of the vault server as a security precaution. So you just click on the next, then it will harden the mission. Okay. Yeah, next. So it is saying like performing digital vault is a hardening case. So it is doing hardening process. When we speak of hardening in this concept, what are the highlighted parts or maybe the components which are disabled from the Windows as such? So by default, there are a lot of services running in the background of the server. But once the hardening happens, only 32 services, including 6 vault services, will be running. And remaining all other services will be disabled. Apart from that, all the firewall routes will be blocked and only port 185 will be allowed. Right, but why don't we look at having a core OS installation itself then? Again, that's we need to manage at image level. We need to modify those for the GUI part of it. Apart from that in background. So CyberArk will do some other kind of things also, but we don't actually what they are doing. These two are high-level kind of things. Okay, fair enough. Okay, thank you. So server means this vault server installation. It's executable. Installers. And client means software installers of the vault. If you want to access the vault data, we require one interface. So that client is in 5th interface. So we need to install that interface for accessing the vault data. So, post installation of the vault, I will ask you to install the client also. So then, after installation of the client, you will get one picture. What is client and what is server? Coming to master piece and operator piece. These are the two pieces I will explain. What is the difference between master and operator piece on a desktop and a license file? So you know, right, this is a licensed version. So definitely we require one license file for installing the software. So that license is nothing but license file. No. Go back to the initialization. So these two passwords we require very badly, because in case if you forget the master password, then we need to pay to CyberArk vendor for resetting the master password. So they will provide one script and they will charge around some $1,000 for that script. So we can't reset the master password in case if you forget. In case if you forget the administrator password and if you have a master password, then we can reset. That's fine. But in case if you forget the master password, then definitely we need to pay some amount to CyberArk vendor. So they will provide some scripts and we need to execute the scripts. I just go for next. What's happening? Stop working. I think I don't have any other choice. Should I close the program? There is no special characters in the password.